Okay, y'all, we gonna talk about trash in Italy. Trash in Italy. I'm really gonna call it trash in Italy. You know, the moment I saw Triple H on the kickoff show talking about, oh, we got a stack card, it's gonna be so good, yada yada yada. I knew it was gonna be trash. The Cody Rhodes match and Gunther, they started off the night, and honestly, I thought Gunther and Cody was gonna put on a show. John Cena and Gunther did a way better. I mean, even Goldberg and Gunther was better than this. You know, the finish was dumb. Really, really dumb. The finish was trash. You know, CM Punk and Gunther had a way better match. I think it's time for Cody Rhodes to give up this belt. Tonight should have been the night Cody Rhodes lost. Cody Rhodes should have lost this match hands down. Cody Rhodes should have lost. I mean, Gunther could have carried this title into SummerSlam. That should have happened. Gunther should have won. But they did a garbage finish. Time to move on. I mean, this match, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. It was a 4 out of 10. You know, now the next match, I might give this match. You see, it's very hard to give a match like a 10 out of 10. But let's get into it. Jade versus Rhea Ripley was basically, let's just say 17 minutes. It was 16 minutes and 57 seconds. It was a 17-minute match. And I ain't gonna lie, B-Fab almost messed it up. You know, she couldn't, for some reason, B-Fab almost missed Jade's leg. Well, I ain't gonna lie, B-Fab missed Jade's leg. And, you know, Jade just had to, like, kick out a little bit. I don't know if Jade actually kicked. The ref was about to count to 3, but B-Fab, man, she put Jade's leg on that rope a little bit too short. Other than that, really wasn't no botches. They did some cool stuff, you know, in the ring. Now, should Rhea Ripley still be the champion? Man, I think we all want Jade as the champion. You know, but I don't know where they're going. You know, for Charlotte to come out there and help Rhea makes no sense. Well, no, you know what? It does make sense. Because Jade, like, punished Alexa Bliss on SmackDown. So that, it kind of makes sense. I get why she did it. But now you might start a Charlotte versus Jade feud with no title. That is the problem right there. That's the problem. No one wants to see Jade versus Charlotte if nothing's on the line. That's just the big problem right there. Nothing's on the line. So what we gonna go to SummerSlam, Jade versus Charlotte, and nothing's on the line. The only thing, I mean, if creative was smart, the way you fix this, you can have them meet at Queen of the Ring, but at the end of the day, the Queen of the Ring tournament usually is a Raw Women's Star and a SmackDown Women's Star. So you really can't fix it like that, because they're both on SmackDown. But, you know, it's sad because we want Jade versus Charlotte, but we need this for the title. And who do you have Rhea facing? You know, Rhea's going to face, I guess, whoever wins Queen of the Ring, but it's going to be Io Sky? Is that what they're going to do? But all in all, this match, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. They had one botch. 9 out of 10. Jade was reversing stuff into a DDT and all of this. This match was like a 9 out of 10. You know, for what we were getting in the women's division, this is a 9 out of 10 match. You know, if this was Divas era and all of that nonsense, I mean, Asuka, you know, I'm going to say Asuka, Io Sky, all of them. You know, Mercedes Moné, Bianca, just all those women's matches we've been getting in the last 3 years. You know, and also compared on the stuff that we're getting on a daily basis, that's just brawl nonsense. This match was a 9 out of 10. It was a 9 out of 10. Moving on, and I'm going to skip through this stuff. Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi. If they would have let Oba Femi win this match, it would have solidified it, and we would have been happy with that. The match psychology was okay, you know. But I mean, Brock having to hit Oba with like 10 F5s to win. You know, basically, they're building Oba up so much. You know, there's no reason Oba should lose to anybody else. You know, I don't know how they could have done it, but they're going to do Brock versus Oba again at SummerSlam. We already know this. Move on. Next, Sol Ruka and Becky Lynch. When Becky Lynch came out, I knew for a fact Becky Lynch was going to play ball and let Sol Ruka win to put Sol Ruka over. And that's a good thing, because Becky doesn't need this title. She doesn't need the win. When Becky came out, she was solidified. She got a big, humongous pop. She did her job. Sol Ruka won. This match wasn't the best match in the world, but Sol Ruka got to win the Intercontinental Championship title. Now she's going to go on Raw and brawl. Welcome to the Brawl Intercontinental Women's Championship. We all know that's all they're going to do on Raw. Next, Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. This night is basically over with. Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu was 27 minutes long. Now compare this match to Jade and Rhea's match. Jade and Rhea actually fought longer, because Jade and Rhea didn't go in the crowd and walk around for 10 minutes. You know, Roman Reigns and Jacob actually walked around the stadium, you know, fighting. It's okay, you know, but the amount of actual wrestling that took place was about 7 minutes. Jacob loses clean. You know, there's no it's a tribal combat with no interference. You know, Jacob lost. That's all I got to say. Everyone's fine with it. But the very last thing Roman Reigns said when he walked out, he was like, QB1, F that. You know, I'm the tribal chief, and, you know, he kind of dissed Cody. So are we going to do Cody versus Roman at some point, or is Roman Reigns just talking trash? I don't know. I don't know. Where's Drew McIntyre? You know, the Vision, everyone's hurt. Braun Breaker has the title now. It's like, y'all, like, everyone in the Vision got hurt. Now Braun Breaker's in the tag team division. You know, this is a 5-card pay-per-view. You're in Italy, bro. You could have you never go to Italy. You could have gave these people at least a 7 match card, bro. You give them 5 matches. You know, I don't even know what to say at this point. But if y'all didn't check out AAA, I ain't gonna speak on it. We all knew who the El Grande original was. They totally abandoned that storyline and did El Grande versus El Grande. You could have did El Grande versus Penta, Mass versus Mass, but you know, Ludwig is good as an El Grande. Chad Gable is good as an El Grande. Finally, we get Chad Gable back. Chad Gable is happy, supposedly, to be in AAA because he's getting main event time. But we all want Chad Gable on Raw, like we can use him. But Triple H sucks at his job. He needs to be fired. It isn't TKO running creative. It is literally Triple H booking the shows, making the storylines. Triple H sucks. Okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, Trash in Italy was a 5. That was about a 5. It was a little bit better than a SmackDown. Only because titles was on the line. Other than that, if you thought Trash in Italy was a 10 out of 10, you're the problem.